like Vietnamese people. He's evil, and I'm bad like Steve Seagal. Against peaceful, see you in hell.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? So I guess I'm evil and you're bad? Or who was bad and who was evil?
I don't know. I always thought the black one was just bad, but they both call each other bad.
No, well, he said I'm bad and he's evil. And that was Roy. That was Roy. Oh, okay.
M said that in the first. Like they both say the same first verse, first hook.
Okay.
And don't switch it.
Okay.
But when they finally came out with it's because of the name. When they finally came out with the album, Hell the sequel. Bad was stylized in Royce's font, and evil was stylized in Eminem's font. So I assume M's evil because of the E.
Okay, so they probably just figured it out after the fact.
I'm pretty sure they did then. They were just doing that for that verse. Alright.
If you guys can't tell by now, I got my buddy Kwadwo, son Caesar, in studio. I need sound effects and shit. Yeah! It's scatter.
That's how we
do
this
scatter.
thing, man.
How does that go? It's scatter?
It's scatter. What is that?
Who's your boy? Lil Pump does that, doesn't he?
Oh,
the guy with
that was a good try, bro. Wow, you get it, the whole internet's gonna forget. Escada.
Oh, is that what it is?
He's saying escada. All of this is just weird noise.
I have no idea. That guy said, "I'm not about being lyrical. I'm about having fun." But fuck that guy.
He's having fun.
No, he needs to respect where it came from. Like he needs to respect the. Look, he can have fun, but make some good shit too. Because if you're garbage, you're garbage.
That's subjective.
Yeah, it is 100%. But
what is garbage?
Yeah, look. I'm the old man now. I'm the old man.
You're the old man.
I'm saying I'm the old man. But I don't get it now. I used to get the music.
Here's the thing, though. Like I feel like your opinion of garbage isn't that like it's not as rigid as like I might argue against that I might have fucked you up for before. Because like the thing is, like, I've seen you like your little trap shit here and there, your little ASAP Fergs and shit like that, you know what I mean? I don't know, it's just privy to your ear as far as what they're putting to the music and stuff like that, you know what I mean?
Since you're here and I'm doing the episode with you.
Oh yeah, we drinking whiskey.
We're getting some whiskey.
Whiskey!
Have a couple drinks.
Drink.
With my boy Kwadwo.
Yeah, I brought, why, this isn't all I brought. This is a terrible example.
Wait, the smallest one you have. Oh, you cursed it all up. Okay, okay.
Bro, this weed came very... You know the weed that always comes like straight shake?
Yeah. He had a baggie. He had a baggie. But he grabbed the smallest nug he had.
I got a lot. I got more than this baggie, though. I got some weed. I'm here, though. Mixtape coming soon.
Yeah.
UFC Talk is Deep episode coming soon. Yo, man, I'm really blanking.
Don't speed through it. You're the guest today, so we don't have to just speed through it.
No, I'm just saying. I was gonna ask you. I'm blanking on another Talk is Deep episode topic. I was gonna say, man, I need your help and.
I could try to come up with something.
I don't know, or maybe I would love to ask the audience, but I don't have one. So I'll ask the Talk is Heal audience, cause you definitely got some Talk is Heal motherfuckers in here.
Ooh.
Are you okay?
Put a lot of fucking whiskey in this bitch.
Yeah, you put a lot of milk in your coffee. Yeah, relax.
Yeah, a lot of sugar in there. Oof. I'm not a drinker. I'm only drinking because Kwadwo's here, so. And I don't got work tomorrow. I don't got overtime tomorrow, so.
Hey, shout out to that. Yeah, man, I work Sunday. I hope my job never sees this shit.
Yeah, me too.
I don't worry about that at all, though.
I kind of do, but we're such a small place that I don't think, like, it's up to the discretion of the boss. Like, I could probably talk to him and be like, look, dude.
I mean, there's nobody at my job who watches this shit. You know what I mean? Like, religiously. You might catch it because you might, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't plan on being there. I plan on being something else. I think that's kind of figure out how, I hope how you look at it. You know what I mean? Eventually, like, you're not going to be there at your job, and then you're probably more than likely going to be here.
No, if this gets big enough to the point where people are fucking posting this to my job and shit like that, like, I should be getting paid off of this.
I'm saying, YouTube shop sponsorships aren't that easy to come by. I mean, aren't that hard to come by. I meant to say.
So about this, so you've been working on a mixtape.
For like a year, bro.
Is it an album, mixtape? I don't. It's a mixtape. So the mixtape. So people that don't know what a mixtape is, it's pretty much the instrumental or the beats taken from.
I mean, that's
what everyone does.
That's what the original mixtape, bro. It's kind of weird because that art form's kind of like died. Like the original art form, like taking people's other shit. Like the guy who made it famous kind of killed it.
Lil Wayne. Yeah.
And like to the point where he does it, and it's not as important as it used to be. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of, and if it is important, it's like only important when he does it, but even when he does it, it's not that important. Really, the way I've seen it transfer is because that energy of that specific way of doing your rap art form, you know what I mean? Like, its popularity has kind of shifted just to like freestyle appearances. You know what I mean? Like, oh, did you see that new Action Bronson freestyle on Flex?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how people usually come. That's how it kind of lives. But, like, I just decided to bring it back because that's how, that's what I grew up on. You know what I mean? And, like, I figure if it's good enough, it'll probably stand out. And it's kind of like, not a parody of it, but doing it that way is kind of like, it's its own, like, art medium. You can kind of tell because, like, I'm doing it like how they are originally done, but it's just the homies. It's
100%.
It's like us if we did a mix.
Yeah, well, it's 100% different now because of streaming.
Yeah.
Like before, like see, like the thing that I'm hooked on is an album, but dudes don't do that anymore. They do the single, so you can go check them out on tour because that's where they make their money.
Your prominent artists still do the album. They still do the album, but like you're right. The game is. Streaming is how we're getting our music now. Yeah. And that's just kind of how it's going to be beyond that unless something else comes out. And I don't know if that's even... Because we thought that once the MP3 came out, that's like... We didn't think it'd be... But then streaming come out and it's like... It's a whole different ball game. Like, thank God for SoundCloud because I probably couldn't put this on any streaming platform other than... Like, I probably can't because it's all...
YouTube?
Yeah. I could probably... Yeah.
Just with the cover photo?
Yeah, I could probably. Well, see, that's the thing. That's like streaming, like YouTube. Like I have YouTube Music, the app, but like can you tell YouTube's format as far as how they have music has changed? It's kind of like Apple Music now. They have like everything, and like it's like almost what they did with Vivo for video. Yeah. The YouTube's trying to do that. Where like they're not that they own music, but it's like another level of ownership to having it. And I think it's just more transferable to the streaming platform and stuff like that. Because I noticed that, like, YouTube, like... And it's harder to find certain songs that I used to be able to find. And, like, songs that aren't on, like, an official platform, like, mixtape songs, basically, aren't... There's still, like, other people's, like, video channels. Yeah. But, like, there's this one video channel, I'm sure you've all noticed it, it's called Topic or whatever, where it's just... the song and the album cover. You know what I mean? It's how it would be if it was on Spotify, but it's on YouTube.
So, Kanye was late yesterday to the MMA Act, to the something Media Act. So, the music... So, there's a new act going on. They have a... What is it called? I don't think that's it. What that shit was? The Music Modernization Act has been signed now into law. So, that's what was going on yesterday. I think that was the main reason Kanye was there, and that's not what anyone is focusing on. Everyone's focusing on him and Trump. Like, him and Trump sitting and eating. So it's that MMA act. Right? So they signed something into law that is apparently going to help artists with streaming services because streaming services don't pay artists what they deserve to get paid for streams.
Yeah, I know that.
So they're going to try to fix it somehow because unless you own your own music, you're getting raped. Sorry to say that. Like you're getting screwed.
No, the thing.
Same thing, right?
I love how you had to clean that up. Nah, the thing is, the old format of how music was given to us. Like, people are rushing to how, like, because I've been watching a lot of shit about, like, because I watch just, like, hip-hop talk, whatever, so this is a talking point of it. And the labels are buying into the streaming services, right? And that kind of complicates things with artists who are on those labels. You know what I mean? How their music is consumed and how the label wants to monitor that in regards to how, like, these independent artists is. are able to do it, because the streaming services have so much power that like it's really a cash cow for like independent artists, but it was iffy because there were no real rules to it, so they weren't paying the independent artists the way they should have been paying them either. So like, you know, they were getting fucked. A lot of people were getting fucked and shit like that, but like that was just until they said they were gonna figure out if they can do it. I don't know if they're ever gonna.
Dude, did I put that much in there?
Are you okay, bro?
That shit is strong as fuck, dude. That shit is strong. Well, I haven't drank and I don't drink. You see when I drink.
Yeah, I do. It's awesome.
Yeah. So today is like one of the only days I drink. I don't really drink. I usually just chill.
The camera quality. I like the camera quality on this camera.
I don't know why it switched today. Remember it was all shitty the other day? Maybe I did an update that I didn't know of or something.
Maybe.
I don't know. It was
the light looks on it. I like how my skin's looking under this light.
It's making you glow. It's making you glow with it.
But yeah, it's all a big race. But you're telling me niggas did something about it? I don't know, man.
So the Music Modernization Act has been signed into law. Let me look at it real quick.
Great,
President Trump has signed the Music Modernization Act, MMA, into law, officially passing the most sweeping reform to copyright law in decades. The bill, heralded by labels, musicians, and politicians, unanimously passed through both House and Senate before going to the president. The bill revamps Section 115 of the U.S. Copyright Act and aims to bring copyright law up to speed for the streaming era. These are Act's three main pieces of legislation. The Music Modernization Act, which streamlines the music... I don't know.
Yeah. Compensating legacy artists for their song service.
There's a lot of legal talk, man.
I understand it though. That's what improves royalty payouts. It's basically royalties
it's money.
For producers and engineers, but it's not specifics. They're just talking about improving certain areas, but these notable areas.
Well, it's because artists have, like, I think Taylor Swift actually pulled her stuff from Spotify. Was it Spotify? Because she wasn't getting paid.
Okay, cool.
Jay-Z has made his own label.
His own streaming service.
Yeah, his own streaming service.
I mean, but he would kind of have the foresight to know that artists should probably have that.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever.
Well, because if you're not big enough and you're signed to a label, the label's making all the money on the streaming service.
That's why the labels were smart enough to take the jump on that.
Mm-hmm.
And artists, not that artists didn't think of it, but you were in the label, so with the label already handling that, how could you think to handle that yourself?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unless you were already the type of artist that didn't really fuck with your label, which is a lot of artists, but...
So back to M, are you throwing shit at Eminem right now, bro?
What do you mean?
That he's not involved with his fucking label?
Eminem, oh my god, bro. You need to watch the podcast I watch.
I'm about to get on the Joe Budden podcast. I'm about to subscribe to it because...
That's probably the best hip-hop podcast you can watch. And I don't know if he talks about everything, but for the episodes that he does have, because I watched his Chance interview, and that was fucking great. That was like, every interview I'd probably, fuck any other interview I've ever seen Chance in. Like, I probably only go back to that interview, because it was like 3 hours long.
Damn.
Like, it was,
But Joe Budden seems to tell it like it is. Like, I've seen him deal with these mumble rappers, and he'll tell them off, and he'll be like, I don't like your shit.
But more than just...
He'll be like, I don't like you. He'll be like, I don't like your shit.
More than just... Because his telling it like it is enshrouded in opinion. He's like an old head who has like a lot of game.
Yeah.
And he knows he's giving game because like he gives so much behind the scenes shit that like, you know what I mean, you might not think about. But he's like, let me give an example of what this happened in the industry under wraps that you didn't see and shit like that. But like more than just that, like he's coming from a scope of like not, cause like he'll tell it like it is, but it's not like it's in the scope of like cause people try to paint him as like a hating old head, but if you listen to him, he's not. He he'll talk in the scope of like, I don't know this, I don't understand this, this isn't for me, but I understand this to the level of this is what this artist has to do, whatever. This is probably their capacity of like what's good for them and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, cause he can still talk about like he's like a for real hip hop head. Like he knows that, but like he knows like all cause he had his try at the mainstream shit and too like that. Mm-hmm. So like he knows like it was weird cause like his Eminem episode legitimately had me looking at Eminem differently. But it's because he basically told the story of like him knowing Eminem.
Well, he knows Eminem.
Yeah, but like even him and Eminem both had to lament that even though they know each other, they weren't cool like that. They didn't know each other like that. Like he was just on his label. Like M knows Royce and Joe knows Royce. You know what I mean? That's their degree of separation. They're both really, really good friends with Royce the 5'9", but like not necessarily with each other and shit like that. And but I don't know. It was the way Joe Budden told that story. Like, it put me in his perspective of how he was looking at Eminem, and it made sense. Mm-hmm. So it was fucking me up. You know what I mean? Like, he showed the examples. It was making sense. I was like, fuck, does Eminem do that? Because he was bringing up the examples of how, like, to stay relevant, kind of Eminem latches on to, like, the next hottest lyrical MC, but doesn't really do anything for them. Just kind of puts himself next to them in key points, and if they do, because he basically told the story about like this rise and fall of Slaughterhouse, and their fall kind of started as soon as they signed it to Shady, which was like the peak of their career. It's like, oh fuck, Slaughterhouse.
I need to hear that first album.
Fucking makes sense.
Well, I need to hear all their shit, but I need to hear that first Slaughterhouse album and then compare it to the second one, which Shady took over and signed them under the label and produced it, right? Had stuff to do with it.
I don't know if
or didn't do enough.
I don't know if it was an album. Like, I don't know if they ever had an official album before Shining and Shady. They might have had like a mixtape. Mm-hmm. Basically, they have like a lot of songs.
Yeah, well, they did a song, and that's how it started.
Yeah. It was off a Joe Budden mixtape, and it was called Slaughterhouse, and he had all the niggas on it, and like that one, like in the underground, had so much clout to it that like people, you know what I mean? After it was just like, yo, let's have a group, because even on the original song, there was more MCs on the original song than that were actually in Slaughterhouse, I think. But regardless, like, those four niggas clicked, and they're all like, yeah, let's do a group. Shady caught wind of it, and I don't know whatever they put out before, but I know they had like a sound, which was an underground sound. And this is the argument I was getting at the end of my Eminem Talk is Deep episode. Subscribe, Red Ribbon Radio, SoundCloud guys. But basically the way he described it is like they're trying to make them sound like Eminem.
Mm-hmm. Like that. Yeah, that's what he was saying.
It's just like, no, that's fucking gross. Like, honestly, Eminem sound isn't even working for Eminem right now.
Yeah, I like Eminem, and his last song, what was it? Killshot, kind of reminded me a little bit of old Eminem, but it's not the old Eminem. It seems a little bit forced.
The one song that reminded me of old Eminem was on the Bad Meets Evil album, Hell the Sequel. It was a song with him and Royce. It was called Reunion. Slow pace, didn't have M screaming on it. They were both lyrically going bananas, of course. There's no denying that in any Eminem record. I mean, there's no denying his lyrical prowess. But, like, this is that argument I was giving you, man, where it's just like, you know what I mean? The line between corny and clever, because how you name yourself a damn gun and you have a man bun, that shit made my penis soft, right? And I really just expect so much better from Eminem. But then it's like perspective. That's why I said, like, dude, Joe had me looking at him kind of differently, because now I'm looking at old shit where I liked Eminem, and I'm like, well, was that good, or was I just dick riding? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm just like, no, fuck that.
Well, I was playing some old Eminem right now. Yeah. I was playing some deep cuts, as they like to call it. Those are some
real deep cuts, man. Like big tune them. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what they tell them for real. But
no, that old Eminem. Even we were playing Bad Meets Evil in the intro. That shit is hot fire, man.
Yeah.
And M has some tracks even by himself. It's not like he needs someone else on the track with him.
Of course, we all know that.
Yeah, but
we all know that.
Those first 2 albums are
like he has the power he has on features. Man, what he's done for other people's tracks is just, it's always great.
Renegade?
Yeah, yeah. We need not have that conversation again.
Dude, you know what's funny? So the other day I was in the car and I was on random, and it came on. It's like, if you having troubles, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. And my nephew's like, he's like, you know what? I've always heard that, but I've never heard the song. And I'm like, what?
That's crazy. Oh my God! Imagine being that old and being like, wow, he's always heard the phrase, but never where it came from.
He's 18 and he's never heard it. He's never heard the song, so I fucking turned it up, and I'm like, you can hear it now, bitch.
And he's probably thinking this came from like 1980 something. Nigga, this came in like 2000, like
this ain't
6 or some
this
shit.
ain't that old, like.
Right? Oh fuck, man.
But I like doing that. Like what I get in the car and I put it on random, not just my favorites, because I need to favorite a lot more music in my phone. I just don't.
Bro, man, you don't get to the. That's what happened to me. Like, I mean. Eventually, and I was so glad that my iTunes got so expansive, but like, I'll play shit, but I'm a replay type of motherfucker. It got too much where I was just like, I'm gonna throw on iTunes and shuffle the whole library, and that's always like the greatest experience because it's just like, oh man, the songs that come up across the entire library. So many songs you guys have forgotten out there in your library.
Yeah,
it's always so great. It's just like, fuck, man,
dude,
I forgot this song.
My nephews can't wait for the Queen.
Movie
man,
that's gonna
for
be
Bohemian
great.
Rhapsody
That's
because I play Queen for them all the time. I'm like, hey, you guys ever heard of Queen? They're like, no, and I'm like, what about this song? It's like, we will. I'm like, oh yeah, we'll hear this one. And I'm like, what about this one? We are the champions. They're like, yeah, and then I'll play other ones, and they're like, well, I haven't heard this one, but it's good. Like, well, I haven't heard this one, but it's good. I'm like, yeah, Queen's fucking good. So when they see the previews, I'm like, hey, that's the Queen fucking movie. And they're
it's
like,
probably
what?
gonna be the next movie I see in theaters.
Yeah, you haven't seen Venom?
No, I'm probably not gonna see that in theaters, bro.
Why not?
I don't think I'm gonna like it.
Why not?
I don't think it's gonna be that good.
Stop listening to critics.
I'm not listening to critics.
It's good.
That was upon view of the trailer. I was like, I don't know about this one. That's how I felt about it.
Why don't you think you're gonna like it?
You know what? Maybe I think it's because I'm being a purist, and I know how far it's veering away.
Okay, yeah, because so here's the thing.
But then I heard a critic's take on it. Though.
When the symbiote hit, well, this is a cartoon. This is not a spoiler alert. This is a cartoon. So the reason Venom is Venom in the cartoon, and it's not. Well, I guess it's spoiler alert in the fact that this is not what happens in the movie.
Right.
The reason that Venom is Venom is.
They've changed it a few times.
Yeah,
so
the symbiote. Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure this isn't like even the comic one. This is the cartoon animated series Spider-Man from my childhood. It crashes. So that's what I'm going by. It crashes from space. Jameson's son, astronaut, crashes his fucking thing. The symbiote's there. Spider-Man goes to save him, and it gets on him because he gets in the water. He throws his suit in the laundry thing. The symbiote crawls off and gets on him, makes him Black Spider-Man. When he gets it off of him, it had taken an attribute of him. He is Spider-Man. So when it gets on Eddie Brock, it takes his evilness, but it has an attribute of Spider-Man, which is the spider symbiote thing. So it kind of gives Eddie Brock that Venom thing. So that's why Venom's created in the animated series. It's not how it's done here. We don't see Spider-Man because Spider-Man is in the MCU. And this is a Sony movie, which is now owned by MCU, which is...
Because, like, I mean, he doesn't even have the spider on his chest.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm just like, this isn't... There's some... They ran some shit over... Because you know how they come out with a commercial like, oh, the critics are in and shit like that. And I'm like, this is a crack of shit because I know none of the critics say any of this shit. But
yeah, because it was 50-50.
But they said some person said it's the most original comic book movie come out in like a while or whatever, and I'm like, is it because it doesn't do anything?
Because it's different
in the fucking comic and shit.
Because
like
it's not. It doesn't have to
like,
align.
I can't take it as a comic book movie. I take it as some alien shit that they made up that kind of looks like Venom. kinda is Eddie Brock, but he doesn't even live in New York.
You know what?
In San Francisco.
It seemed
and that's motherfucking privy to what happens in the comic, but they switch shit up.
It seemed a little scary movie because
there you go.
The symbiotes were taking over, and it was like holy
and
shit.
They're eating people. Kiss my ass.
Yeah,
they want to eat people.
Yeah, they want to eat people.
Get the fuck out of here.
Well, do you want to know the reason behind that? Why they eat people? So when spoiler alert, 3, 2, 1. When it attaches to you and it makes a symbiotic reaction or symbiotic connection with you, it needs to feed. So it's feeding on you when it's with you. But if you eat and feed it, it's not feeding on you. So that's why it's eating people.
So it doesn't eat him.
Yeah, so it won't eat Eddie Brock. Because they figure it out when they take him to a doctor. When he's got it in him. I like the movie. All my nephews like the movie. All 3 of them like the movie.
Yeah.
And it's different because it doesn't have to do anything with the MCU universe. So anything with people ask me, they're like,
I'm such a.
Was it better than Infinity War? And that's not fair.
Oh come on now.
No, that I don't know what's gonna be better than Infinity War for me at least. I can watch that movie over and over again.
I can get how you say that. Not fair. The setup to Infinity War. There's no movie ever made that has a setup like Infinity War has. There's no movie ever made that has a 7-movie setup.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, that's completely unfair. I mean, you can base it on a movie-to-movie basis, but the hype alone already trumps whatever Venom is. Nobody was looking forward to Venom. Nobody was thinking about a Venom movie until they saw the trailer, though. Let's just keep that clear. I know you want a Venom movie, but you know what I want? I want a better Spider-Man 3. How about that one? I didn't need a Venom movie. Give me Spider-Man 3 where Venom is not in it for the last 20 minutes of the film for the climax. Mm-hmm. Kiss my ass. All right? You can make a 3-hour film and balance it out with half Black Spider-Man, half Venom.
Wasn't it Sandman, Green Goblin?
Sandman, Green Goblin, and Venom. And Venom was like how they did. Or, I don't even know how Dark Knight got away from it. But I guess because the Joker was so goddamn prolific, I took Two-Face being in that movie only towards the end. And it was a long end that he was in it, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. The split between Harvey and Two-Face was great. I don't know. It was great.
I think
but
it's really overshadowed by that's a Joker movie, man.
That's a Joker movie.
And then the death kind of cemented it as a Joker movie.
I'm only saying that in terms of I still was satisfied with the Two-Face edition.
I wish they would have named that.
The Eddie Brock in Spider-Man 3, I was not satisfied in that shit. That shit. I don't know, but they really botched. I don't know, like maybe
Dude, and go back. Topher Grace is a shitty Spider-Man. I don't care what anyone says. He's my Spider-Man, but
Tobey Maguire?
Yeah.
You think he's a shitty Spider-Man?
Compared to this new guy?
Tom Holland did one movie.
And that's all I need. That's all I need.
God.
He was in Civil War. Tom
Holland has done 3 movies. He's done 3 movies. You're right. He's played Spider-Man 3 fucking times already. And he only has 1 Spider-Man movie. That's impressive enough in itself.
He's funny. And I think they've got the technology down to make it look better.
How did you feel about Andrew Garfield?
Which one was that one?
The second one.
The second one with the spiky hair?
I guess his shit was...
He was skateboarding all the time?
Yeah, skateboarding.
He was a little bit too cool. He was a little bit too cool for Spider-Man.
I can see, man. That's how I'm like. How do you want your balance? Because Tobey Maguire was.
He was too nerdy. He's too nerdy. He was a little bit too nerdy. Because in the it's because I want the cartoon one. Guy was super jacked and nerdy, so there was a balance. Motherfucking Spider-Man was jacked as fuck, but he was nerdy as fuck.
Honestly, even as a kid, I kind of knew that wasn't how Peter Parker was supposed to look. Even as a kid, I knew that.
He wasn't supposed to look like that.
And honestly, that was my first exposure to Spider-Man. Really, that animated series. Like, but I bought. I love
that animated
series. I bought the comics though. It's ironic you bring me up. We're talking about this because earlier today, I was just looking up pictures of Venom. I just want to look at cool pictures or whatever. And I was I brought up I typed in the Ultimate Spider-Man Venom because as a kid, I read the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. And they were basically trying to give us our own Spider-Man comic for our 2000s generation. It basically like premiered then. And like 2003, 2004. Yeah, like 2004-ish is when they like were dropping, and it was a retelling, but it was like modernizing of it. But they had Ultimate X-Men, Ultimate Fantastic Four, all their stories interlined. And I was looking at all the old covers like, fuck, man, I really was reading the fuck out of this, like buying the issues, but I fell off because I fall off on things, and it was weird. I was seeing some covers they had episodes where he met up with the Avengers. I really wish I read them shits, man. Man, I don't know where I was going with that, but the Venom in that one, it's funny. It's funny how they switched up that shit because he wasn't a symbiote. It was supposed to be a cure for cancer. That actually, Richard Parker. His father's name is Richard Parker. Or is it Reed Parker?
It must be Richard. I know Richard Reed is.
Yeah, I'm
Dr. Reed is Mr. Fantastic.
Mr. Fantastic, but man, I forgot what I was talking about before. I went off in a tangent. My bad.
Yeah.
The Venoms though. Yeah, I guess. Oh yeah, we were comparing Spider-Man and shit like that, and I was talking about the Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, you're talking about those.
And shit like, oh, but that was basically just to wrap into like how you kind of like that was like my. Oh, I read Spider-Man, like, this is a Peter Parker, which was an equally, like, nerdy Peter Parker, you know what I mean? But it was, like, it's funny, man, because the original Peter Parker is a Poindexter, bro.
Yeah,
like,
super genius.
You want to talk about nerdy, like, and more than just, like, super genius, like, the way they depicted him, he had, like, a bow tie, clean cut glasses, like, but it was like the 50s. That's
it's funny though.
That's what the nerdy niggas look. But I'm saying after he got his powers, all that funny whatever that shit developed. Then I don't know why they went the super jacked route with him and
He was jacked.
He was almost like kind of cool looking, like cool for like a 1990s. He looks like he probably drives a convertible. He almost looked like he could be like Flash Gordon's or Flash Thompson's like contemporary.
You know what I have that I really want to watch? That I should just start watching? The Batman animated series from the 90s.
Yeah,
I've seen it. That show, if you guys have never seen it, that show is in a category of its own, dude.
Just a great show.
It's just different. It's not like a cartoon. It's almost like a grown-up cartoon.
It is. I mean, that's Emmy nominated and won a few Emmys, I'm sure, all across the board. Like, as a kid, you just don't know because it's just like, this is the show, this is the tone of the show. And you can kind of just accept that, you know, you don't really know that, like, oh, there's, like, an adult, like, you know what I mean? But, like, I watch a lot of cartoons and go back and realize, like, man, that's why you know these are adults making these shows. Cause, like, some of the shit they choose, they're even great for kids, right? Because any person has the capacity to, like, digest the story and be like, wow, that was crazy how that story went and shit like that.
Well, you've seen my collection, right? So you've seen, I have Halo, I have a little bit of Power Rangers, some UFC, a lot of WWE, a lot of Marvel, some Star Wars, no DC.
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting Batman. That's the only probably DC that I'm willing to get that I really wouldn't mind getting.
So
I don't mind the Batman.
No, but your choice is Marvel then, huh?
Oh, yeah. If you had to choose one.
Bro, it's funny. My nephew, I asked him, he fucks with everybody, but, like, he, like, is a DC. For some reason, DC is his shit.
It started way earlier. It's super older than Marvel.
They didn't come out the same?
No.
Oh, yeah, Superman is crazy older than
Yeah,
Marvel.
Superman is crazy old.
Was crazy. He came out in, like, 1930s. Marvel came out in, like, 1940s, 50s, right?
Yep.
But wait, the first one was Namor. When did he come out?
Namor the Submariner?
Yeah, he was the first one. Him, and then it was the Human Torch, and then it was Captain America. That's fucking crazy. I almost had an old encyclopedia about, like, Marvel and shit like
I love
that.
Batman, though.
Everybody loves Batman.
I like Superman, but...
Honestly, and if you're being, like, our generation's fuck, kids from the 90s, what you were saying about the animated series, that kind of, like... I think them two animated series, because that's how it is in my head.
X-Men 3.
Like, X-Men 2. It depends on... Honestly, yeah, you're right. There's a lot that could, like, fuck... Yeah, but, like, I don't know. For me,
we had such good cartoons as kids.
For me, my two favorite heroes are always Batman and Spider-Man.
I love Spider-Man. You know, Captain America said Spider-Man's the greatest Avenger. Like, he's the best Avenger.
That's why they're all friends, and they're like they're gonna develop that relationship too, because the Iron Man relationship and like their little exchange when they met in Civil War. They're gonna expand on that too in the movie.
Yeah. Then they say, he's like, "Where you from, kid?" And he's like, "Harlem," and he's like, "Brooklyn."
Yeah.
Or what do you say? Something.
Queens.
Yeah, something like
Peter's
that.
From Queens.
Yeah.
Peter's from Queens, and then Captain America's like, "Oh, I'm from Brooklyn."
Yeah, and he walked away when.
New York.
Yeah, and he was escaping. So they already developed that little relationship, but I think Captain America signaled it out. He's dying in this movie. He's dying in the sequel to Infinity War. Well, it's not even to the end game.
I mean, what is that called? It's called the end game.
I don't know. I don't know if they officially titled it already.
You seen the trailer for Captain Marvel?
Yeah. Yeah, they're introducing the Skrulls, which is a whole nother layer into the MCU.
My God, they're really taking it there with this.
Yeah, they're going there.
Bro, man, but I hear there's rumors of, and this is just complete bullshit. There's, honestly, the only way, because as far as outside universes in Marvel cinema, outside MCU, the only long-standing one is X-Men. Like, all those movies are connected. All of them.
Mm-hmm.
Fox low-key kind of snapped by doing that, you know what I mean? Even all those shitty Wolverine ones. Which I've watched. I watched the first one. Which makes no sense.
I've seen all three of those Wolverine ones. I think the one where he went to Japan kind of sucked.
Bro. So you like the first two?
I think that was the middle one. I didn't really
see the first one. There's three of them.
Yeah.
Because of the last one where he's all old and spoiler alert, 1, 2, 3, he dies.
You mean Logan, old man Logan?
Yeah. That shit was scary. He was fighting himself, and it was like a younger version of himself. That nigga was a fucking murderer. But that was a great film though. That was a great film. But yeah, man, all them X-Men movies connected, cause they always had the same motherfucking Charles.
Dark Phoenix is coming too with the.
Do you see that trailer?
Yeah.
That shit look crazy. See, that's the thing. I'm hearing rumors they want to finally include the X-Men in the MCU.
Well,
which how are you fucking going to do that?
So, they are already.
And also, they're still going with the other X-Men. You have to kill that one before you start another X-Men.
They already merged with Disney the rights of the X-Men, whoever had the rights. So, Scarlet Witch is an X-Men. So, if you have a Scarlet Witch movie, there's a way to introduce the X-Men. But they've kind of already had a Scarlet Witch movie. Wasn't Quicksilver died, didn't he?
They switched them niggas up though.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't Magneto's children.
Yeah, they should be Magneto's children.
They should have been. They weren't Magneto's children. They were experiments. Kind of like they weren't mutants.
Yeah.
See, that's what I mean. They're avoiding the whole mutant conversation, which is frustrating because there's no way you just all of a sudden introduce that in this fucking 7 movies deep, man. And you're gonna tell me there's mutants by the 14th film? No. There's no X-Men in this shit. Unless how are you gonna do it?
Well, I don't think they could though because
they can't.
I think the mutant concept is an X-Men thing to
Marvel
begin with.
Thing,
I know it's a Marvel thing, but I think it began with X-Men because you had to. It's a mutation. Mutants.
Yeah, no, I'm saying.
So I think it's an X-Men origin.
Of course, it's the X-Men origin.
So I think that's the fact.
Like,
because we have gods. There's gods in the MCU. There's Thor and there's all the Thor's fucking. But even his dad, Loki.
Even the conception of what they are is kind of like. It's loose. It's a loose definition of God.
Mm-hmm.
It's really alien.
Yeah, it's really alien.
It's really alien, but it's just lost in translation between what it meant in the comic and what's gonna mean in a movie for casual fans to consume. That's all that is. But cause really, what Marvel wants to get into is the whole, and they started getting into this shit once they introduced Doctor Strange, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they want to get into a whole warp. I don't want to say warping, but like the what is reality creation, a conversation or whatever, right? And they're kind of, it's easier to do that with comics, just because you kind of accept it's an inception of like in another world, so they have the capacity to be all like, oh well, this is another universe with other heroes and shit like that. And low-key, we don't live in that universe anymore. So, because they've done that several times in DC and in Marvel shit. Just because it gets to the point where you're fighting people who just, the powers is crazy. And they're getting to that in the movie. So I'm loving to see, like, how far they take, like, the concepts from Marvel MCU. Are they going to go into the terrain, well, oh shit, maybe to beat Thanos is the reality we live in isn't the same anymore, because they've done shit like that, you know what I mean, in the comics. Excuse me.
Well, I heard some crazy theory where they're gonna somehow get the reality stone and go back or somehow restructure reality.
What if they, I just thought of this,
and revive everybody.
that sounds great. That actually sounds great. That I can accept that. I can digest that and just be like, yes, that works into the scope of, like winning this movie and shit like that. I just had the thought of, what if they, switch universes and they just go to the motherfucking X-Men universe? Wouldn't that be some shit? That'd be fucked up.
Like, oh,
that's how they incorporated the X-Men.
They're like, hey, Thanos won this universe.
Yeah,
peace.
Yeah,
we're good.
On some Rick and Morty.
No, they definitely have to clean it up because Thanos was definitely damaged after he snapped his fingers.
You see him?
His hand, the gauntlet was smoking and cracked. He was charred up his arm to his shoulder.
He was burning. It was a freaky fucking visual.
It took a lot out of him. So they're going to be able, if they get to him, I think they'll be able to crack the gauntlet to be able to access the stones. And with the time stone and the reality stone, they can go back and fuck with... reverse some shit.
I wonder what was the significance of letting him get it in the first phase to getting it back. Because I guess that was the only way Doctor Strange saw it to be. They had to let him do it. The only way they win is if they somehow have to go through getting it back for some reason. Whatever reason they have to go through that.
I think... Well, the amount of power it took to access, because you can even see when he puts the stone in, he's like, ugh, he kind of has to like brace it.
So now it weakened him.
So but I think it weakened the gauntlet itself.
Yeah. Oh, so now they're able to go against the
fuck with the gauntlet and separate the stones.
Okay, I get it. Okay.
That's what I'm thinking is gonna go down.
That makes sense. That definitely makes sense. That makes perfect sense. I'm fucking with that. If that's how the way they're gonna go with it.
Because Ant-Man's in the quantum realm. Let's put Ant-Man in the fucking glove and pop it up, or get into the stones themselves. They're gonna Ant-Man. They're gonna get Ant-Man. Someone has to get Ant-Man, and he
wasn't in.
They mentioned them though.
Yeah. So
they mentioned Hawkeye and him.
Yeah.
That they were in the house arrest.
Yeah, he was under house arrest.
Hawkeye's gonna come back. Watch. His family's gonna die.
Oh,
his family's gonna get snapped away. His little girl and his...
Oh, that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. That's it. Yep. That's exactly what happened. They're dead right now. They're dead as fuck. By the end of that movie, they was dead. They was dead as fuck. He's gonna come to them like, yo, what the fuck? Yo, so... Cap was still there, right?
Yeah, all the original Avengers are still alive. All the original Avengers stayed alive. The only ones that died are the additional ones. Doctor Strange,
Black Panther,
Spider-Man, Black Panther, Bucky, the Guardians of the Galaxy all died, except maybe for Raccoon. I don't know why the Raccoon didn't die. Rocket Raccoon.
Did
Thor's alive.
Wait, but Star-Lord died too?
Star-Lord died.
Damn! And then Peter died.
Shit! The original Avengers are alive.
Yeah, only the original.
Yeah, Black Panther died, dude.
Yeah,
My king!
I remember when he was trying to dip, and then all of a sudden he just said... Yeah, that shit was crazy when they all died. That was a crazy thing to watch.
Dude, that movie's gonna be hard to beat for top movies just because it had so many emotions because they killed so many of our heroes, and the action was so good. The villain kicked the shit out of everybody.
All the original.
It left us wanting more, and what it left us with, Thor stabbing Thanos in the heart, and Thanos being like, "You should have aimed for the head. What did you do? What did you do?" And then he uses the space stone to get the fuck out of there.
He did what he told you he was gonna do. I'm mad he was just like, I'm gonna do it right now, fuck it. But that's a real villain for you. That's a real nigga villain for you. For real, for real. He said, yeah, nah, I got him. Sorry, guys. Should have aimed for the head.
But Stormbreaker, dude? Whoa.
Stormbreaker.
The X?
Oh, yeah, that is the name. Bro, as soon as you mentioned Thor, I'm like, bro, can we talk about... I'm glad that like, Marvel, oh my God. It's just great that Marvel is what it is because there's so much to take from to add to these movies. Because they go through every, like, amalgamation of Thor. They go through every, like, incarnation of Iron Man. All the Iron Man suits that have premiered throughout the comics, they're going through. All the Thor forms. These are mad Thor looks. I think you threw it up on the Facebook where it's just like, they compare like movie looks to the actual comic looks.
Oh yeah.
Shit like that. I'm like, yes, these are weapons Thor have. Not that I didn't read Thor, but I'm like, yes, I remember Thor had a hammer. Then my nigga had an axe for a while. You know what I mean? Like a real life axe, like
the king's weapon.
Yeah, man, real power shit, man. I love the Asgardian, the mythology that comes with Thor. Cause like I've always been into like monarchy type shit. Like I've always been into shit like that, like legacy shit. You know what I mean? Your son's son carrying on, being ill like you and shit like that. Like I didn't put no chase in this.
It's all whiskey.
Yeah, I sipped that like I had Pepsi and I forgot. I forgot.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait for this fucking movie. I got a bunch of comics that I'm trying to rifle through that I'm gonna start reading. I started collecting comics.
I can't wait for that shit too, man. Next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably like May or July.
I wonder what Captain Marvel's role is gonna be in this.
She's definitely keen to bringing some of that shit back. Definitely, cause you know whatever happened at the end. Remember when
we're gonna see how
Fury knew to call her.
We're gonna see how badass she is in this movie.
Yeah.
We're gonna see the extent of her powers because they've been hiding her, or she's been fighting somewhere else with the Krees.
She's definitely. I think she's been gone
with the Kree people.
I think
because for people that don't know, Captain Marvel gets her powers from the Kree people. She wished upon a dying star, or I forget exactly what. Or I think that might be her later incantation. I think she gets her powers from Captain Marvel himself. Yeah, because she gets even more powerful than.
Right.
So, I think Captain Marvel, the original, gives his powers to Carol Danvers, which is the army person. We'll see what the MCU does with her because there's different ways they can go with her, and the movie already shows that she's going to have powers that when she absorbs the power of the dying star or something like that, she has crazy powers, and they're already showing them in this movie, and they're already showing her with that suit. And I don't know if you know this, but they show Cull, Obsidian, dude. They show him with Captain Marvel's. I didn't see him. I missed him. They have it with the flag. Yeah. It's his flag, or not his flag, like his cape. Yeah. And it's dangling off his waistband, so the Black Order is gonna be in this movie as well, probably. Cull, Obsidian. We've talked a lot about Marvel, a lot about Kanye, and not a lot about MMA. What's your take on?
That's always my fault.
No, it's fine. It's 100%. What's your take on? So this past weekend was UFC 229, and Conor McGregor got beat by Habib Nurmagomedov. I was saying it so good last week.
Yeah, you were killing it.
Habib Nurmagomedov. There we go.
Yep.
He beat Conor.
Habib.
3 out of the 4 rounds. Got a finished victory by neck crank. He just beat Conor. Wrestled him. Beat the fuck out of him. Conor couldn't get his game going. He had good defense on the floor, like I said. But the real story was the brawl after the fight. So, after the fight, Dylan Dennis, outside of the cage, was yelling shit at Khabib. Khabib threw his mouthpiece at him, but then Khabib's manager, Russian manager, started shit with Dennis. That's when Khabib ran and jumped the fence. As soon as he jumped the fence, he ran out and tried to eagle fucking fly at Dennis, and they started punching each other. Conor tried to jump out the cage. I think he attacked one of Khabib's teammates or brothers that had run into the cage and had tried to run across the cage and tried to attack Conor's team. So Conor, rightfully stopped that guy and attacked him, but right away they got stopped. So people are complaining that Conor threw the first punch when someone got in the octagon. Look, someone got in the octagon when there was a fight.
It's an octagon.
Yeah, he got into... there was 2 guys fighting in the octagon.
Don't get in the octagon.
Khabib started the kaboom, and that's what I should have called this episode. Khabib's kaboom.
No.
We talk too much at Marvel and shit, but Khabib's kaboom started all of this, and it caused his teammates to take a shortcut to try to get faster to stop the brawl, which in turn caused Conor to retaliate because he saw someone jump into the cage and go attack his team. I don't blame Conor for that. I blame Khabib for jumping out and attacking Dylan Dennis, and the Russian manager for attacking Dylan Dennis. You let security deal with that, Khabib. I get it. You love your people, whatever. So then one of Khabib's brothers jumps in, or Khabib's teammates, I think his boxing coach, jumps in and punches Conor from the head or whatever, from behind. They get separated. And Conor pretty much gets taken. He goes away without having an interview or nothing. Khabib tries to come back into the octagon. He's talked down by Luke Rockhold in DC. He wants his belt. He's talking to Dana, and he's telling him, look, I'm calm. Just give my belt. Dana's like, look, if I give you your belt, there's going to be a riot, and people are going to throw shit. And he's like, look, I'm ready. Okay, I'm ready for this, Dana. I'm ready. He's like, look, I know you're ready for this, but not everyone else is. So if I do this, there's going to be a riot, and they paid money, and these are innocent people. That just shows you how much Khabib cares about his fans, or fans in general. He doesn't care if a riot would have ensued. He wanted his belt in his moment after he created a riot of sorts.
I mean, once Dana told him that he backed off, though, no?
He was...
I'm not trying to...
He was pressing it a little bit.
I'm not trying to sully his character out of this at all.
I am. No.
I know you are, because you're ultimately, just disappointed in him.
I am disappointed in him, because he shouldn't have done that. It's not Khabib hate. It's sad because...
But I think it's a little out of his character
exactly.
more than you're used to.
Exactly. It's not in his character.
For me, I think it's an example of breaking points.
Well, like everyone was saying, Conor didn't get to Khabib. Conor didn't get to Khabib.
Conor gets to everybody.
Leading up to the fight, there was pressers, and they were like, Conor didn't get to Khabib. Conor didn't get to Khabib. Conor got to Khabib because Khabib kaboomed. I'm gonna keep corny ass shit like that and saying it, but Khabib exploded.
Conor gets to everyone. He has that power, and I've watched time and time again, fight after fighter deny it. They deny it because their definition of what in their head doesn't, register the same way, because, or it's just not comprehended to them as being in their head. But there's levels to what is in your head. If you are thinking about Conor McGregor off of some shit is said, if you tell himself, if you're consciously telling yourself, I ain't even thinking about that nigga, but you have to consciously tell yourself that, you're thinking about that nigga.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I understand you might be calm, and it might be amusing to you at first, But like, Conor knows those things, and he turns it up accordingly.
Yeah.
He turns it up accordingly to where it's just like, okay. It's just like he knows everyone has a breaking point, and it's just like it's just how you exhibit your breaking point. And I hand it to you this way: there is people who have the capacity. That's my shit. My bad.
Oh no, I was just.
There are people who have the capacity to like relinquish their breaking point in the ring alone.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But
Khabib being so professional, man. It's like you said, it was just out of his character.
the thing is, Khabib. And Dana said this because his game plan was to tire him out with the ground game and then knock him out. He wasn't looking for a choke out, whatever. That speaks onto the satisfaction of how he wanted to beat this man. And I feel like I said, Conor gets in everybody's head. It just depends how you write that. Although I feel like I don't know how he took that shit. Yeah, I mean, but it was clear Conor got in his head.
Mm-hmm.
To Nate Diaz, Conor was in his head, but Nate Diaz is
Nate the gangster.
He's seasoned into how to handle
Nate's
niggas being in your head. You know what I mean? I'm not. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. People absorb how what's in there. Khabib is kind of foreign. You know what I'm saying? He's foreign.
No, he's 100%. Not kinda. He's foreign.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, I feel like there's a certain etiquette in letting a nigga know you're not playing other places. You know what I mean? And shit like that. And the thing is, like, letting a nigga know you're not playing, I think, in where Khabib's is from, you know what I mean? I think there's a certain satisfaction you seek in being confirmed that. And choking him out wasn't enough and he was correct though. He was correct in knowing that wasn't enough because and it will never be enough for Conor.
Yeah.
Because Conor doesn't stop for nothing. But to be enough for yourself, so you know, even though that nigga's still talking, at least now he knows that I'm. You know what I mean? Like it's a little different.
Dude,
it's a little different.
It's so confusing, man, because. Even for Khabib, like he.
I just know he wasn't satisfied with how he won. He wanted them to.
Oh yeah, dude.
So he had a little bit more torque, and honestly, I think those are gonna be the only times that shit's gonna happen. He's not gonna do it at a press conference. He's calm at a press conference. He just whooped the shit out of you. This nigga's going. You know what I mean? Like his test. You know what I mean? He's
like,
fucking ready.
He talks about respect and all that stuff, and that was so out of.
The thing is, he listed it. How can he have respect? Like, okay, in the capacity of respect for MMA, respect for the art, respect for the UFC, respect for Dana White, respect for his fans, respect for that. He probably should have remembered all that shit.
This is where I'm at a crossroads. Like, the martial arts I've taken and the fighter in me in the competition, it tells me to be respectful and back off. And, you know, you won, you did what you have to do and back off. But the gangster in me... says keep going. Attack his team. Fucking even fight the ref. Fuck you. Don't pull me off of this motherfucker, dude. You're stopping this shit. You want some of this? Let's go. But that's the gangster in you, and that's the guy you gotta suppress. In that situation, that's where you have to suppress him. And I know Khabib is a gangster. He's a gangster ass motherfucker. And in that instance, gangster Khabib did not go away. Gangster Khabib could not be. He was not going to be put away.
He was fresh off a choke out. He was like feeling this nigga losing air. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Just the adrenaline rush of the fight. He wasn't done yet. He wasn't done. He turns his attention over, and this nigga's fucking running his mouth. All right. You know what I mean? This energy's got to go somewhere else. You know what I mean? Because it's not toning down.
So, in the octagon, Khabib was on top, and he was like... Let's talk now. Talk now. Come on, talk now. And he was pounding him. Talk now, Conor. And then Conor, I think at the end of the third round, he was like, it's only business. It's only business. And he was getting punched and he was getting punched. And that's why I don't understand it from Khabib's point. Like, he's getting paid a fuckload. Well, not anymore because they withheld his money. But he's probably going to get it, though.
No, the thing is, that's how... That moment right there speaks unto Conor way more than most people would even register, because that lets you know that.
See,
like,
but
I'm
but
not
that's,
saying it's an act, but he knows.
but that's still a little gangster as fuck too, though. Look, dude, I'm about my money, man. Like, I did this so we can get paid. You got paid. I got paid. We're set for life, dude. Yeah, I made fun of your dad and your religion.
No. I mean, that's just like. Man, it's just it just goes back to a nigga's principles. You know what I mean? What principles trump other things, and the thing is like, it goes to like how you can compartmentalize what you're doing. Like, I don't think Khabib is the type of nigga that separates a lot of things.
Perfect transition.
You know what I mean?
So Khabib said to the UFC, put out a statement, "Hey, fuck faces," not in these words. If you fire my teammates for what they did, I'm out.
See, and this is where we're talking about, and this is where and these are the things I think about. Gangster, you know what I mean? What are we categorizing out of it under, depending on which each action leads to and what they're based off of. And I can always respect any man's principles. That's why I could say what Conor did is gangster himself, because it boils down to the reasoning. You know what I mean? Like, Khabib's not separating any of this shit. This MMA shit is in his family shit. It's blood shit. It's loyalty shit. It's all that shit. You know what I mean? Well, Conor, this MMA shit is a business for his family. He separates them in terms of I don't know, because what was the Dolly incident? Was that emotion? Was that business? What was that? You know what I mean?
I think
I don't know what
that might have been a little bit of loyalty. Do you think it was selling though?
Like, what does he say? Like,
yeah, I get what you're saying.
No, and I only thought about that right now.
Was he the opportunist in that instant? Like, like, he just fucked up. He just fucked with my boy. He got smacked. Did he retaliate because of that, or did the process go? I can go right now, and I have the reason to do this, not only for my boy, but to sell the fight. It could be 50-50.
See, yeah. The thing is, the type of nigga.
But we know Khabib is 100 though.
Yeah, the thing is, Conor isn't implicitly thinking that, or explicitly thinking that. And not to say it doesn't. I just think how he operates, his mind is already in that mode without thinking that. Like, it's just how his mind directs things. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I don't know. I just incident didn't seem like.
Look, Conor's a gangster.
Any type of publicity. I think he really wanted to go see Khabib and all of them.
Yeah, I think Conor's gangster as fuck. I just think he knows how to separate the situations. And the professional situation from the fight. Like, well, they were fighting. They were really punching each other in the face.
I think it's just, you know what it is at this point? It really is level of etiquette. And just your perception of etiquette. Like, I'm not going to call it separation. It's just because everything Conor does, if it was done to him, he has the capacity to get mad at those things too. And do the same thing Khabib did because those things were done. If tables were turned, and that's not to say maybe he was acting like to get Khabib calm all the way to the lead up. No, he's probably talking that shit too. But what if the fighter he was fighting was him times 12? Maybe it's some shit he never seen before. You know what I mean? Maybe it's another nigga who is just as clever as he is, just as marketing capable as he is, and shit like that. Like.
Well, there definitely is the mind game aspect. Conor gets in the head, and
he does. He's a master at that. But like the thing is, that shit can backfire on him. It backfired on him with Khabib. And I don't blame the mind games. I don't think that it backfires because usually, like, even because that shit works in two ways. Works in two ways, but it always gives her a great fight. He's either gonna get in the motherfucker's head, the dude's gonna cower, or he's gonna get in the motherfucker's head, the nigga's gonna be turned up, and they're gonna fucking fight to the death.
2.4 million, the highest selling pay-per-view. That means $70 times 2.4 million. That's not endorsements. That's not commercials from FS1 stuff that they were on. That's not the money from Fox that they're getting paid for the event. That's not ticket sales. That's pay-per-views. 2.4 million times 70. And like that's going to be their pay-per-view points times whatever the pay-per-view made. The highest pay-per-view of all time in UFC history. Plus their guaranteed purses, which was I think $4 million for Conor and $2 million for Khabib. Plus all that, plus endorsements.
That's what I'm telling you, man. I mean, you know what it is? If it doesn't immediately affect Conor's money, he won't do it. So maybe he just... I'm thinking, yeah, maybe if the tables were turned, he would react the same way after the fight, but he probably would never cross the line and fucking up his bag. Conor doesn't do that. Conor made it clear it's about his bag. And I'm pretty sure that's because my nigga used to be poor. What?
Shout outs to the YouTube comments.
Oh, my bad.
Camera 1. That's Smoke Frog, right?
Yeah, that's the nigga Yvonne.
Oh, Conor's cheap shots. Let's talk about that. So Conor cheated a couple times. He grabbed the cage.
Oh, yeah.
He needs Khabib from the floor. Hey, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. We lie, we cheat, we steal. Viva la raza. Viva Eddie Guerrero. There was definitely some favoritism. There definitely should have maybe been a point taken away for excessive cheating. No, there was no point taken away.
Listen, man. He did that out of necessity. Because more than you doing that, I'm ashamed he kind of needed to do that. And the only reason he needed to do that is because he was outclassed in every way. But it could be... even with his defense, I feel like he was outclassed. I know it ran a little longer, you know what I mean, than he usually does for Khabib. You know what I mean? When he's working him down and shit like that. I know he survived some ground and pounds. You know what I mean? I'll give him points for surviving that ground and pound. That was crazy.
Conor had some good defense on the floor.
Yeah, he had good defense on the floor, but Conor's hype outweighs his skill set in the UFC.
So I have a little developing theory on this, and I like tying WWE since this is Full Heel Podcast, and I do WWE stuff with UFC stuff. I like to kind of parallel this to the double turn. And let me explain it. So back in the day, we had Bret Hart as the good guy, and we had Austin as the bad guy coming in. Austin was the hated guy. Bret was the good guy. During the match, they had a fantastic match. Back and forth. Made you love Austin during the match. But at the end of the match, Austin is a bloody mess in a sharpshooter. And Bret Hart doesn't let go. So the referee calls for the belt and disqualifies. Oh, no. I think Bret Hart wins, but he doesn't let go. Because Austin passes out from being held in it. So Austin doesn't give up, but the match is over because he passes out from the pain of the sharpshooter and bleeding. The ref calls the match. Bret doesn't let go of the sharpshooter, and I think the ref pulls him off, and he attacks Austin after. And this is a successful double turn. Bret, being the good guy coming in, leaves the bad guy being booed because he attacked Austin, the bad guy. Now the good guy.
Well done, Vince McMahon.
double turn, double face heel turn, and I like to kind of parallel it to this one. Conor coming in as the bad boy, doing whatever he wants in the UFC. Calling the shots, making the most money, being the most unprofessional, and not getting punished for it. Khabib coming in super professional, super respectful, shaking everyone's hands before and after the fight. Undefeated, super technical. comes in, wins, beats the bad guy that everyone's complaining about, but doesn't let go of the sharpshooter after he wins.
Yeah.
Now Khabib is the bad guy, and Conor is the good guy. Not only was he liked before, but he was considered the bad guy. But now Conor is the one that kept the rules intact. He was the one that stayed in the octagon. Yeah, he did throw some punches.
That's subjective because
it's a little stretch, but I like to make the comparison.
It's not a stretch because like I was only gonna say it was a stretch just because people are looking at this as a cause and effect type thing. Heavy. They're looking at everything Connor's done to lead to like
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I don't know. It's depending on how you digest that double full heel turn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because wrestling, I don't know. I think it's just easy to realize. Oh,
yeah, but I think
evil now.
I think
You know what
I think
mean?
Conor
Shit
got a
like
lot
that.
more hate than he ever had.
That's
I mean
the thing.
Khabib.
Yeah, man, I just could think that's conducive to what it means.
Mm-hmm.
In the scope of in the scope of it being MMA and UFC, it means something a little different to do all that shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's really disrespectful to the art form, too. And I guess, I don't know, if I'm looking at it how Khabib probably looks at it, he respects everything, but then there's just a level of, like, there's probably levels to, like, what he respects most, not most and less, but, like, if you're gonna disrespect his religion, his family, he'll sacrifice respect for this shit. Because you guys are harboring a motherfucker who didn't respect any of those things. So why should I respect any of this shit? Let alone him and his team and Dana White. You know what I mean? Like, I truly believe Khabib is sorry for what it does. Furthermore, for his fans, in terms of, like, enjoying him fighting, enjoying him being present in the UFC. But, I don't know, like, what's that fight tomorrow?
Crawford versus Benavidez.
They asked Crawford about that shit, man, and he loved it. But he looked at it how I looked at it. He was just like, a cause and effect thing. You know what I mean? Like, he said, because he said he wasn't surprised. He said he probably expected more from Khabib. And I think Crawford probably looks at McGregor, like, in the scope, and, like...
Wait, what fight are you talking about? I'm talking about that boxing fight.
Yeah, no. They asked him about it, though.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm just saying, because I was watching him interview on First Take, and they asked him about it.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, yo... They asked him about the UFC fight, and they asked him about what you think about Khabib hopping over the fence and shit like that. And he's like, I love that shit. And he's all like, I kind of expected that shit. And I'm thinking that he's thinking about it how, like, he would be. He's like, I'd do the same shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's history repeating itself, too. Like, in the WWE, every time they gave a guy too much power, he abused that power. Hulk Hogan, you gave him a lot of power, he abused it. Shawn Michaels, Shawn Michaels, you gave him a lot of power, he abused it. It happened, and the owners never really knew how to control it with their stars. You got the star, and he calls the shots, man. That's just how it goes.
Khabib is kind of interesting, though, because, I think he, like, if we compare him between Conor's adversaries, I'm just gonna compare him between him and Nate Diaz, right? As far as, like, maintaining power, or the power you had before the fight and after the fight. Let's say, like,
You mean the cardio?
Not power as a fighter. I mean power in UFC.
Oh, okay, like popularity and shit.
Yeah, shit like that. Yeah, shit like that. But, like, what you can get the UFC to do for you. And correct me if I'm wrong, but, like, just in comparison, like, Nate's not getting them to do shit for him like Conor is, right?
Yeah, no one is.
But yeah, no one is. And I
Can
don't know
Khabib?
I think he can. First of all, he walked in with way more respect walking into that fight than Nate had. You know what I'm saying? Khabib walked in with way more respect. I don't think he necessarily lost respect with a lot of his contemporaries with the business aspect of maybe he lost some respect. But I really don't think they even really give a shit about that shit as far as what it means for the sport. As far as and I'm talking about the integrity of MMA, not their business, because they're only thinking about the image of their business and if it's still profitable, manageable, and sellable. You know what I mean? And shit like that. So, you know what I mean? There might be some ifs, ands, or maybes there. I think some MMA purists like you yourselves who respect the sport, respect the sport, and expect a little bit more professionalism from him might be.
See, but my WWE side is crossing over too. It's like my worlds are colliding.
See, and the thing is, I think we're kind of all expecting that in all our sports. Because, like I said, I got more respect from him when he did that shit. But that just let me know he was like human. And when I say human, it's like, yeah, he's human, but like, I gotta know if a nigga can do some dirt, you know what I mean? Which is like, you just get more respect for a motherfucker, like you can be a badass motherfucker in the ring and shit like that, and like, okay, yeah, you can beat ass, but like, you'll let a motherfucker say anything and everything to you, and you have the power to beat their ass, maybe you're a little bit more of a pussy because of that, you know what I mean? Maybe not, depends on how you look at it, but like, him letting them know that, like, fucking stop it. You know
he
did.
He take out Connor and he's like, I'm going for your team, bitch.
Like I'll wreak havoc across your whole fucking existence. Like, stop. Don't say shit about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can really respect that. Like, I understand. Like, they snap.
Khabib Nurmagomedov's pro skater, and they have a picture of him photoshopped on the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 cover. They just took Tony Hawk out and they put a board flipping. It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
I completely understand. Like, I don't know. And honestly, like, when you have it there, there's no... Because I can almost... Like, you can almost try to, like, map it out for him. It's like, well, maybe he should have waited till... You know what I mean? Maybe we could catch a motherfucker where he's not fresh off the fight. But you don't feel it until it's first there. And he felt it there. And he's like, fuck this.
All right, so I guess we can move on. We've talked about enough about those guys. Daniel Cormier, DC versus Derek Lewis for the World Heavyweight Championship at UFC 230 that's November 3rd. That's less than a month away. What do you think about that one, Chief Keef?
I'm from this point on, I have more questions for you than you can have for me.
Like,
I'm just, how deserving is Lewis of this matchup, in your opinion?
Well, he was ranked number 2, so in the rankings he was pretty high up there, and he just defeated Volkov, which I think was number 1. So rankings wise, yes, and that division is so shallow in terms of anyone could rack up 3 wins and be in a championship contender talk, that Lewis has had a lot of ups and maybe a down and then ups and then a down, like, so to where he's racked up a lot of wins to the point where he got to number 2 and he beat the number 1 contender.
Here's what I think.
Or Miocic is number 1.
Cormier goes in and does what I guess he's supposed to do. Just be the
he's just gonna tire Lewis out.
World class fighter he is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Technical.
This might go 5 rounds just because Lewis is tough enough not to get finished.
Here's the thing though. Lewis is tough enough not to get finished and catch you. If he catches, I don't know. I'd like to think that his defense is gonna be tight enough that he's not gonna catch him. You know what I mean? He's gonna be completely wary of what that nigga can do with his hands if you slip up. And like, I don't know. Heavyweight speed, I'm pretty sure that's probably easy to work through. Maybe. I could be wrong. Like,
DC's got that speed in the hands, man.
Yeah.
DC's got speedy hands, so.
But I'm looking for head movement.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I like Carl Winslow in this. I mean, DC.
Yeah.
I'm taking Carl Winslow.
Yeah, I like DC in it too, but the thing is, like.
Or are you taking Warren Sapp?
I would love to see. I like this matchup a lot. Like, as far as the fight goes, I would love to see these two niggas fight. You know what I mean? Like, you're terrible for that. Like, I don't know. I really respect both their come ups. Like, even though I talk my shit about DC, you know what I mean? But like, you know, as far as like the heavyweight division, like I love the fighters that like they produce as far as like in the top class and shit like that. But it'd be interesting if Lewis won, because that would harbor for a rematch. If he loses, they're not gonna rematch shit.
Well, see, for DC, this kind of is a swan song, so they're gonna strip him of the UFC light heavyweight championship, and they have already announced John Jones versus
I saw that one, man.
Alexander Gustafsson too. Which that first fight from them is in my top 5 fights of all time of the UFC. I wonder how it goes down this time, especially with Jones being off so long. But they're gonna strip DC, and he's got Lewis,
I
which
promise you, Jones hasn't lost a beat.
Yeah,
he never does when he comes back ever.
So Lewis, well, he's actually had his worst performance when he came back from that, when he got tested for drugs the first time. He tested positive and came back against OSP, and OSP lasted all 5 rounds with him, and people were like, "What?" But then in the next fight, he just destroyed DC. So
that's the one I saw.
And then so DC's gonna fight Lewis. I think he can beat him pretty easily. Sorry, Lewis. I like you a lot, but DC's DC.
Yeah, that's just being real. That's just being real.
And then DC's got the payday with Brock Lesnar in January.
Yeah. It's gonna be a good fight.
And then he's done. He'll retire. Yeah. Unless they offer him a fuckload for Miocic, and then he'll give Miocic the rematch. Which they probably will. I wouldn't mind seeing that. But go out with the championship, DC. Just leave. Yeah. Just leave.
He's
but
work Brock down, but that's gonna make for an interesting 5 rounds.
So with DC and this guy taking over the headlining spot at Madison Square Garden, they canceled Valentina Shevchenko versus Sijara Eubanks. Thank God, dude. Valentina Shevchenko is a badass, and she's deserving of a title shot. Sijara Eubanks is like 3-2.
Okay.
They made the show with like a bunch of new people instead of getting girls that had experience, and they made the title, or they put the title on the Ultimate Fighter. The girl that won it was like 5-1 or like 4-1. It's just ridiculous the amount of fights these girls had to have a UFC championship. And Sijara Eubanks was going to get a title shot against Valentina Shevchenko because Montaña couldn't make weight, the champion that won it off the show, so she wasn't fighting. So they stripped her of the title, and they were going to make these 2 girls fight for it, or Joanna and Valentina, but then they made Sijara versus Valentina out of nowhere, and people were complaining, like, what the fuck? We don't want this shitty-ass fucking main event for Madison Square Garden. That's not deserving. So then what happened was they made DC versus Lewis because DC stepped in to save the pay-per-view. So then they took Joanna versus Sijara off of that same pay-per-view, and then they made Joanna versus Valentina again at 231. That's nice. So Sijara's pissed. But fuck her, you know, I don't think she deserves a championship, especially over Joanna. But now we have that one, and then at 232 we're going to have Jones versus Gus, which is going to be a good one, too. It's going to be a badass fight. Let's see. Dustin Poirier is out against the fight against Nate Diaz.
Is going to be ready?
He wasn't. They wanted him for 230, so that was the whole controversy for 230.
More than just... Okay.
So here it is. So 230 didn't have a main event forever, and it was Madison Square Garden, so it's deserving of a fucking main event. They threw Nate Diaz versus Poirier, but no title, in only 3 rounds. But they said there was going to be a main event. People were contemplating that Jones was going to get off of suspension by 230, and he was going to be put in that slot. He did get cleared from suspension by 230, but he said he wasn't going to be ready to face Gus. That he would be ready by New Year's, like the 31st of December, or whatever that day falls on for that card. That's the card he's going to be ready, but in December. He needs time to train. So he's definitely not ready, especially for Gus. Damn. And so it's going to be interesting. Damn. Because it's for the intern championship.
That's disheartening.
Yeah, right? That's a little disheartening.
Man, I love Jones.
Yeah, so Poirier's out for Nate Diaz. I don't know what they're gonna do with Nate. Nate versus Khabib's probably suspended.
They do Nate so dirty in that industry, man.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
I already said Joanna. Let's see. I already talked about that. That one too. Let's see. Max Holloway talks about his depression.
Man,
dude, if you take a lot of headshots, man, you're bound to have some depression.
You sure?
Yeah.
I mean, depression.
Concussion.
Yeah, I guess they are.
No,
I'm wondering if they're like conducive.
No, it happened. Yeah.
Like,
yeah. No.
Yeah, they definitely are. Like,
why do you think fuck that football player, Junior Seau? He got depression. Well, like brain damage later on, and then later on in his life, he got depression and killed himself. But he shot himself in the chest so they could work on so they could check out his brain, and he planned
that.
Yeah, like because he was just fucked up, dude. He just didn't want to. He didn't want to continue with. It wasn't him anymore. He just didn't want to live. Yeah. So we talked about Khabib threatening to leave if he doesn't get his people reinstated. Conor and Khabib, 2.4 million, new record. Deontay Wilder breaks the jaw of a mascot.
Not knowing a real person.
Look. The article says not knowing that a real. Shut the fuck up, article. All right, you are bullshitting. There's a dude walking around in that thing, and they tell him to punch it. It's not Deontay Wilder's fault. They tell him to go for it and punch it. They're like, go for the body or go for the head. And Kwadwo, look, if for a second, can you go over there and you see that thing that says Everlast and tap it? Just tap it real quick. So I'm telling him to go tap a body shield.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So that's made out of, I don't know what it's made out of, but it's really tough, and you're supposed to be able to take body shots. So they told the guy to wear, like, it looked like he had a layer of that on his face. Or it looked like he had a layer of it on the front of the costume. It's like a guy in a sombrero. Deontay Wilder decks him, dude, with a right. And Deontay Wilder's yeah. And he breaks the mascot's jaw in the fucking thing. And Deontay Wilder just walks away, and they give the guy a 10 count. But the fucking article says not knowing that a real person was inside. Fuck you, dude. That fucking person was inside. He's wearing a fucking costume. But, yeah. Awesome by Deontay Wilder. And then, so Crawford and Benavidez are fighting tomorrow. Benavidez pushed Crawford. Crawford threw a hook at him. Missed.
Sorry, guys.
So that happened. And, yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got for news. Kwadwo, do you got anything to tell these guys? I know I'm kind of just ending it all fast, but...
Nah, we wasted all that time on all that. We always end up talking about rap and Marvel.
That's fine.
We need like a show like that, like just rap and Marvel. We just go through those two things. But nah, I ain't got nothing. Maybe I shouldn't announce it now. Well, if you guys follow my friends at Good Show Presents, they do events called Pong and Chicken at Tobacco Road. And I think we're going to take over a few nights. So shout out to Good Show Presents. They got extra nights coming to you at Bourbon Street on Division, or Bourbon on Division, or something like that. I don't know the exacts, but if you don't follow them on Facebook already, follow them. Same way you got to follow that Full Hill Podcast. Same way you got to follow that Rewrites. The same way you got to follow that Red Ribbon Army. Like that shit, guys. Me and this nigga gonna do a motherfucking Talk is Deep episode real soon. I gotta come up with we gotta get Johnny on it, because it's not Talk is Deep without me, you, and Johnny. But man, Johnny, gotta come with the points, man. Gotta come with the heavy points, man, on the fucking show, man. I definitely want to have an episode with my nigga Ruin sometime soon. But, bro, I want to do the Lil Wayne episode. Would you be down for that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we all got something to say about that nigga.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I need to get the Carter 5.
You're not gonna like it, bro.
No?
I just know you're not gonna like it. You're not gonna like it. But it's a quintessential Lil Wayne album. It's alright.
Hey B, I got him.
I got. We're out of here, guys.
I remember I messaged you there, and you were like, "What?"
No, I knew it was you. I read it in that voice. I got him. A-A-D. I got.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for joining us. Please subscribe. Please rate and review. Not only
Williams whiskey. They're not giving us no money for this.
Not only Full Heel Podcast, but Talk is Deep.
Yo, what type of weed did you have today?
I don't know. It was pretty good though.
I wish we could name that.
Oh, she said it was the Doctor, but not Dr. Dre or not anything else. Just the Doctor.
The Doctor's the name.
Yeah.
Yo, man, look that up and comment on us. My dress looked great this episode, by the way. Shout out this great camera.
I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. This is when bad meets evil.
I'm bad. He's evil.
We smoking trees till we look like Vietnamese people.
You saw the whole episode. I was down. Looked like a sunset.
Peace.